Leicester City at the weekend, everybody's talking about Jamie Vardy and all his goals. But before we go there, Adam, let's talk about Manchester United and the lack of goals. Is January our best opportunity to ensure we get goals through this season? Do we need to sign somebody?
No, buying new players isn't going to automatically fix things. I think it's something that lies within the mentality and the setup and the tactics of the team at the moment, because it's just really, really frustrating. Now, I understand why Louis van Gaal has set us up from the back, so we're defensively sound first, everything else will follow. Because last season, we were out of the title race before it really got going, before Christmas, before everything like that. We were out of the title race. But yesterday, in a game that we needed to win, yes, it's in our own hands, but we needed to win that game because we're going away to Wolfsburg, where it's probably the most difficult away trip of the Champions League group. PSV have the advantage of having beaten us, so if they level on points with us at the end, they go through. And we just played the game in second gear throughout. There was no urgency, there was no change of tempo, there was no, oh shit, we're not going to win this game, lads. Let's start pummeling it into them, and it was just really poor, man. And I think I had a dig at Wayne Rooney yesterday. That was because I have high expectations of a Manchester United captain. I've seen Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Eric Cantona drag our team through shit, look like they want to do something. I've even seen lesser players do that, get on the ball when things are going wrong. And Wayne Rooney was just a passenger yesterday. Morgan Schneiderlin had the worst 45 minutes of his United career. Yeah. And Wayne Rooney wasn't the worst player on the pitch for Manchester United, but he was a passenger. And when you're seeing things like that from your captain, it is frustrating. But I think it comes from the manager. I don't think buying new players is going to automatically fix things. And I think he needs to just let us go a little bit.
All
Sorry
right.
for that.
That's all right. Gaz, you said yeah a few times during that. Do you think we need to invest in January?
No, not necessarily. I agree with Adam's point about Schneiderlin. I thought that he was particularly poor yesterday, but he's going to improve because he's a good player, and we've got a lot of really good players. That team that started yesterday, that for me is our first 11, apart from obviously the long-term injuries.
How do we get goals then, Gaz?
Like Adam says, I feel like it's just the mentality. Look, when we had it in midfield there, you had Schneiderlin picking up the ball and the whole team in front of him to pass to, and there was no movement. We had the same problem under Moyes, where players would just be stood stationary waiting for the ball. First thing you ever get taught in football when you're a kid is pass and move. It's the most simple thing that any world-class players should be able to do it in a world-class manner. And I thought we had many world-class players out there, or players who have the potential to be world-class and can do world-class things. I feel like just such a simple thing as passing and moving, and when I say moving forward, that would just help our team. And the players can do it. That's what those players are there to do. And I just feel like if we change the mentality, then maybe we can improve because the players are
just
there.
a little tweak, though, isn't it, guys?
Exactly.
Right, let's let Adam Sweeney have a go. Adam, what do you think? Do you think we need to buy some new players, or do you think, as Gaz said, it's just about pass and move? That's how you get goals.
Well, I think the lads have got it spot on. I don't think if you bring anyone else in at the moment, that if the mentality stays the same, you can bring anybody in and it doesn't really matter. You saw it yesterday. You make changes, to the side that's out there. You bring Mata in, you bring Fellaini on, you bring Young on, and actually not a lot changes, not a huge amount. Maybe tiny little changes here and there, but actually the mentality is still to keep the ball at the back, not move it with any pace, not play the ball early, not pass and move like Gaz says. So actually, you end up in a situation where you bring great players in, but they can be turned into average players overnight if they're not allowed to play. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, first we need to make sure that the mentality is right before we can even contemplate bringing in any improvement.
Okay, right, let's move on to Leicester then, and Jamie Vardy, who's now scored in his 10th consecutive Premier League game, equalling a record set by Ruud van Nistelrooy. Adam Sweeney, we'll go back to you. Do you think he can extend that run against Manchester United?
Well, he can. I mean, I think he's coming up against the best defence in the league, in Mike Smalling. So I think he can do it. I don't think he will, actually, but... Mm-hmm. 7 games ago, you might not have thought that there was going to be any run in the first place. Mm-hmm. Then it gets to 6 and 7 and 8 games and you're thinking, wow, this isn't going to stop anymore. And it gets to 10 and you think, well, actually, you can't see it ending because he's playing that well. Leicester are playing that well. They're playing far better than United are. Got more points than us. They're playing a lot better going forward. So he can do it. Do I think he will? No. But he's got every chance. He's playing out of his skin at the moment.
Adam McCullough, what do you think? When Van Nistelrooy set his 10, he scored 15 goals.
Van Nistelrooy is the best striker, goal scorer that I've ever seen, to be honest. But Jamie Vardy is a big chav, isn't he, really? But I hope he don't break his record. Well, I hope he don't go one ahead of Ruud Van Nistelrooy. I hope he just levels it, and that's that. Because if he doesn't score, they still have goals in them, Leicester City. By the way, I don't think the one-man team by any stretch of imagination. I think Claudio Ranieri has been playing some very good football. They do concede an awful lot of goals, though. But again, Manchester United don't score many goals, do we? And we don't concede. So, Jamie Vardy, will he score? Probably.
Go on then, drink water. Do you care about records like this? Would you care if he sets a new record, or do you think it's just a distraction from the game?
I'd love to sit here and just say, yeah, I'm not arsed. As long as we win, I don't care if Jamie Vardy scores. If Jamie Vardy scores, though, deep down, I'm going to be pretty gutted. I'm also crapping myself as well, because when he got to like 7 games on the run, I said, he's not going to break the record. And even if he does, he's still not very good. I still don't think he's a good striker. I don't think he deserves to be anywhere near the England squad. But I'm not being funny, but if you are scoring in 11 games in a run, then there's no fluke there, is there? No. And I feel like it would be the sort of cherry on the cake if he could score against United, because we have such a good defence as well. It would probably prove his credentials a little bit more. But you know what? I still don't rate him. I still don't rate him as a massive striker. I mean, Leicester have been quite lucky in a way with the games that they've had at this going into this season. They've not had many a tough game. This next month is going to be very hard for them, I think, and hopefully we can sort of start
still
their
downfall.
Still
going to beat the teams in front of you, though.
Yeah, I think.
The team.
Yeah, well, I
guess.
guess.
The Premier League's difficult. You know what I mean? We've seen. Look how many games Chelsea have lost this season, and they've got a better score. I know it's a mad season for Chelsea, but
yeah, but if you're coming up against Chelsea as a Leicester team, you're gonna up your game. This is what I always say to fans of Leicester teams. Say when they get a result against United, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, that type of thing, and they'll play that well in that one game, but they'll never play that well again in the whole season. It feels like the players are always more up for it. And if I was a fan of those teams, I'd be annoyed at that. I'd just be like, why can't we do that every
Leicester's
game?
point. I think now everyone's going to start giving Leicester a lot more credit, I think, for what they're doing,
Exactly.
And they'll set up to counteract that. I think United play the way that they do. We know Van Gaal plays the way that he does, but if we'd have played Leicester maybe the second, third game in, they could have feasibly hammered us, because we wouldn't have expected that much from them. A little bit like they did last season, but now going into this game, I think Van Gaal will be very, very wary of how they play, which a lot of teams will going into the Christmas period.
I think it's quite ironic as well.
Right, guys, I'm really enjoying this chat about Leicester City, but this is actually full-time Devils.
I want
to rope you back in.
I was just going to say it's quite ironic that
full-time Foxes.
Loads of people actually saying that Jamie Vardy is world class, because that ironically is chatting shit.
Okay.
They deserve to get banged.
Right, Gaz. Manchester United, that's the team we're talking about. Who would you play if you were the manager against Leicester City?
I would play. Sorry, just unlocking my phone there to get my team up. David De Gea in goal. Darmian right back. Smalling and Blint as the centre halves. I think in a game like this, a lot of people don't like Blint as a centre half, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's lacking, he does things as a centre half that I've never seen a centre back do before. I mean, some of the passes that he'll play, we don't have another player in the squad who could play those type of passes. I know that we've got Carrick and Schweinsteiger who are brilliant passing the ball, but some of the balls are just vintage Daley Blind at times, and I love what he can bring to the team at that in that position. So I've got Daley Blind there, Rojo is the left back, Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin centre mids, and then I've gone for Marshall up top with Mata, Rooney and Lingard behind him. I've put Mata on the right, dropped Memphis just because he did have a real shocker against PSV. I'm really sure that he's going to come good. I'm positive of it, but I've dropped him. And I've kept Rooney in as well because, contrary to what McCullough might say, I actually thought he had a decent game against PSV.
Okay.
How the mighty have fallen.
Sweeney, what are you doing?
Do you know what? It's slightly frustrating, but I'd go for exactly the same side. If Herrera was playing, I would drop Wayne Rooney.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'd put Herrera as the number 10. But even if Herrera was fit and was available, Van Gaal won't. So it's a bit of a moot point. But I'd pick exactly the same side. I think Memphis... The difference between Memphis and Lingard is Memphis actually has more potential for me. But last night and whenever he's played in a number of different games this season, he doesn't seem as willing to try. He'll take a few risks and he will pick the ball up and run at players, but he doesn't seem as arsed as Lingard does. And I think at the minute, with the way that we're playing and the few chances that we've got, okay, Lingard missed a chance against PSV, but he seems a lot more willing to create those opportunities and track back and get involved in the game, which Memphis doesn't seem to do. So I'd pick exactly the same team as Gaz. If Herrera was fit, I'd put him in for
Okay, Adam, what do you think?
It's not going to happen, is it? But I think Memphis got dropped from the team for worse performances than Rooney's been putting in. Well, for similar performances than Rooney's been putting in throughout the season. I thought Memphis was pretty good at Watford in terms of his movement and the chances that we created. Jesse Lingard as well. So if I had my way, Wayne Rooney wouldn't start. And I think at the moment Wayne Rooney is holding this team back. Mm-hmm. I genuinely do, and I think Louis van Gaal's loyalty to Wayne Rooney, like the decision to bring Bastian Schweinsteiger off for Wayne Rooney, when he did that against PSV Eindhoven, we stopped playing. Yeah, we just stopped playing. We did. We didn't pass the ball anymore, and to see that continually happening and decision making it's just so annoying, man. Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. We'll move on. Gaz, apart from Jamie Vardy, what should we be worried about at Leicester?
I'm cracked, lads.
Well, to be fair, that Mahrez as well. A lot of people are actually linking him to us for some reason. I don't think he's quite good enough to play for United, but he's a great player. They've even got a decent keeper in Kasper Schmeichel, and my brother Danny is obviously going to be pulling the strings from midfield. So we've got to be worried about him. He was Player of the Year, I think, the year that they got promoted. So nice. Yeah, he's a good player, man. They've got a really good squad, and like I said, similar thing at Watford. It's the atmosphere and the vibe of the crowd that will really give them a lift. I remember the 5-3 game. That really helped them win that game, so we've got to be careful for that.
Okay, Sweeney, what do you think?
I mean, Gaz has picked out the individual players, but I think just as a unit, I think the minute they're so high on confidence. When you look at it, the top of the league, Leicester are top of the league. They're on more. They've got more points, picked up more points than anybody else. Okay, they've been conceding goals, but as a unit going forward, they are more confident than any side in this league at the moment. Mm-hmm. So I think we've just got to. It's not a case of just isolating one or two individuals. I know Mahrez and Vardy are quality players, but actually I think we need to play our game well, make sure that we're solid, and then try and break with pace when we've got the opportunity. It's the one thing we didn't do against PSV. When they came at us and there's spaces, you've got to go for them. Otherwise, you're never going to break the game down.
No, makes sense. Adam, anything you want to add?
Okay, positive Adam's here now, yeah? Right. Leicester City, I think we could actually go there and win for the simple facts that we're going there and we're expecting a tough game and we're expecting a more difficult game than, as these guys said, we maybe would have earlier in the season. Positives to take are if we win, we go clear at the top of the league. The other teams around us have got difficult games as well. So we could be looking at the end of this week quite positively at Manchester United, top of the league. So I'm thinking Man United are going to win 2-1. We will concede and Jamie Vardy will score. But United will win.
Okay, I'll take that. Gaz, 2-1, what'd you say?
1-0.
Sweeney?
Jamie Vardy.
I'm going to go 3-2. There might just be some more goals in this than usual.
Who's you 3-2 to?
United going to score 3?
Mate, listen, mate, it's got to happen at some
Rooney
point.
hat-trick.
Is it my birthday?
Or design.
Okay, right, guys, thank you very much for joining us.
Vardy on goal would do it for me.
Imagine that.
Okay, right, we're going to wrap up. Everybody, let us know what you think about the things we've been talking about. Jamie Vardy, how United get to score more goals. Do we need to buy somebody in January? Is it a mentality? Is it the manager? Let us know what you think. Get in the comments below. Subscribe to Full Time Devils and have a wicked day. Welcome to United Unzipped.
United Unzipped, everyone. Where's the entrance to the desk?
What are you doing?
Trying to get into the desk, mate.